It's Eric and Jason, and we're back with another super awesome movie review podcast. It's been a heck of a long time.
Too long.
So we're coming at you today with a brand new movie that's still in theaters, probably for not much longer. Last Night in Soho, directed by Edgar Wright. It is a psychological horror thriller movie set in London. And it stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie. Jason, what is this movie about?
All right. Spoiler alert. We're going to give it all away like we do. I'm going to go tippy butt on this thing. Shout out.
I was hoping for a non-spoiler plot, but yeah,
You want a non-spoiler plot?
I want a non-spoiler plot, but in the review, we're definitely going to spoil stuff.
Oh, of course. We're giving it all away, but I'll give you the non-spoiler plot. I'll give you the basic.
I want your take on the plot.
All right, here we go. So you got this gal, Eloise, who's a young girl in the UK countryside, and she has these dreams of becoming a fashion designer, and she wants to go to London to this prestigious fashion school. While she's there, she has a little bit of trouble settling in, so she finds some off-campus housing. We find out that this housing, it's got this almost portal-like situation going on where she's drawn back into 1960s swing in London and ends up having these encounters with Anya Taylor-Joy's character. And I don't want to say, maybe a haunting is a good way. Their lives become intertwined. Very similar situation between the two of them. And then you find out really early on that she has this ability to see people from the past, and so I think that's how she's able to sort of connect with these characters who were part of the life back then. I think that's kind of how I would summarize it without going into too much detail.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's what is it? Supernaturally turned on.
Not erotically.
No, but it's, yeah, like you said, it's very evident early that this is just this is like a given to her character. This is kind of like, I don't know, it's not really.
She's in tune. She's in tune with this.
She's in tune, but it's not like, oh, I hate to mention this because I know you're going to go there, but it's not like The Sixth Sense where they make a big deal out of it. It's just like, okay, she can see. It's not a spoiler to say that she can see her mother. Maybe it's a spoiler. But yeah, so, and then the room, is filled with memories. And so it just kind of lends itself, I suppose, to what her character is.
Yeah. And she has an affinity for this time period already.
Oh, yeah.
With her styles, with the choice of music that she gets from her grandmother. Yeah, she's really like dialed into that culture, and she almost like she believes that she was born during the wrong time period.
Yes, and that part reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen it, of a Woody Allen movie called Midnight in Paris.
Nope, I haven't.
With Owen Wilson, who also finds a portal into the past, and he believes he was in the wrong era, born in the wrong era, but he's very much, I think it's Paris in the 60s that he's obsessed with, in a way.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to check that out. So
That's
what
good.
are what were your takes on this film? Like, we were really anticipating watching it. Like the trailers were just
Yes. Now you actually saw this movie before me, and I have to say you did a great job of not spoiling it. I remember when you got out of the
I
theater.
spoiled Game of Thrones for everybody.
Oh, I'll never watch it. Go right ahead. You want to do that now?
No, I just did that to some friends.
Oh. But no, you text me that was a movie, and that was it.
Yeah, so that was a movie.
And this whole time, I was under the impression that you really liked the movie. So when I texted you back after I saw it, that was certainly a movie. And you
Yeah,
said,
that's all it was.
You said not a very good one. I was so confused because I had just gotten out of it and I was still high from watching it. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, start to finish. I was in it, and nothing took me out of it.
Really? Not. See, I thought it was visually stunning. Great. I loved the visuals of it. If you're making them, if it's an experiment in, I want to make a movie that just looks great, he did it. Fantastic job. Hats off to Edgar Wright for making a visually stunning movie.
Well, you know who the cinematographer is on this. We should mention that briefly at least.
Who was
I wrote his name down because I didn't want to mispronounce it. It's Chung Hoon Chung.
Name sounds familiar. What else did you do?
He's actually from Seoul, South Korea. He did Older Boy, and a lot of other Park Chan-wook work film.
Loved Older Boy.
Yeah, no, it's got fantastic cinematography.
And shout out to South Korean cinematography and cinema in general over the last 5 years. We know
That's
what
good.
they're producing. I mean, easy, low-hanging fruit, Squid Game and Parasite. I mean, come on. They're making some great films, doing some great creative stuff in South Korea right now.
I think they always have been. I think we're just now,
like, we're being exposed to it through the streaming and through
in a very mainstream way. We're just, all of us are getting a taste of it. But
and I think our generation below is willing to watch a foreign film. Like you can't get my parents to sit down and watch a foreign film with subtitles.
Yeah, but now with Netflix, people are turning and tuning in.
Yeah, which, hey, that's great. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Everything, all of the good movies in the world aren't being made in Los Angeles.
No,
there's good stuff.
Some of them are being made in London.
Some of them. I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to really like everything about it. And I feel like it held up for 2 solid acts. And then the third, it was like, well, party's over. Let's wrap this up. And I wrote that in my review. And then I started looking at other people's reviews on Letterboxd, and they matched up with mine. It was like this great film that, all right, time to close, everybody go home. You didn't have the same take.
I didn't, but I've seen some of those reviews. I haven't read all of them. I haven't read too many reviews, to be honest. I haven't read any. I've read bits and pieces of maybe a couple, but I've gotten wind of what you're saying about that third act. So let's just talk about what we like, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
I think we both already mentioned it. It's visually stunning,
Hmm.
if not all the way through, certainly at times. Um, I also really enjoy. So I'm a big fan of the director, and this, for me, this along with Baby Driver, I feel like there's a maturity in his work that he's just getting better and better, more refined.
Okay.
I like in this one that he does a lot with kind of these big, expansive, flowing camera movements. Um, what the dance sequences, and just the whole thing has this nice flow to it for me, visually with the camera work.
Okay.
Um, and he, in a lot of his other previous movies, like The World's End, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, um, he does these really quick cuts and these really quick transitions, and he's throwing a lot of information at you, just visually with the dialogue. It's almost, some of those movies, I love them, but they're almost exhausting.
Like Guy Ritchie films,
Kind of.
where it's like machine gun cuts just coming at you.
Yeah. But in this one, he doesn't do that. And I really appreciated like the kind of smoothness he has. There's one shot in particular. It's a transition where you see the London Underground subway sign, and
Hmm.
it slowly comes into focus. I think it's like transitioning from her waking up to going to class or something. Um, but it's reminiscent of those quicker transitions, but it's much slower and smoother. And I don't know, it's little things like that that I really appreciate about his filmmaking.
Okay.
Um, I love the dance sequences. I love how he uses dance to not only entertain but like to introduce a character. We get a lot in the opening with her, with Eloise, played by Thomasin McKenzie. She's
Mhm.
dancing in the, we don't really know where she is. So you're thinking, is it a set? Is she on stage? But then the lights come on and she's in her house and she's just dancing through. And I feel like, it's not only a beautiful way to open a movie, but we're learning a lot about her character and what she's wearing, and you know kind of
Yeah.
how her attitude towards life. Very optimistic young lady. So those are just some things that I really enjoyed about it. Obviously, Anna Taylor-Joy, I mean, come on.
The goat.
What?
The goat. You don't know about the goat?
The goat?
Greatest of all time. We're giving her the title early, everybody.
I don't, I feel like she would appreciate the humor in that.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Um, the meme value of it.
So, and this, I haven't even talked about the story, or that this is all storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, but we'll leave it. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it
Okay.
there.
I thought visually stunning film. Like I said, the first two acts, I was really dialed in. I wanted to be there for it. I think it kind of fell apart for me in the library scene.
Okay.
Um, you have, because there's so much suspense of belief. Like, did she really just run through the library with a pair of scissors? And then like there's no consequence for that. She
Mhm.
didn't get kicked out of the school. She didn't, she faced no consequences for her actions. Everybody was just like, oh, okay.
With the
allowed to
scissors?
finish school and then become like the, spoiler alert, the kind of the grand designer of them all, and to be celebrated and whatnot after she, kind of went crazy. And who would be able to come back from such a traumatic moment and then like still finish all their shit and then like, oh, everything's hunky-dory now, everything's fine. I didn't like that. I thought that was lazy on the
So,
screenwriter's part.
and this was co-written by, I wanted to mention this as well, so thank you for reminding me, by a woman named Christy Wilson Carnes, I believe. I wasn't too familiar with her, but she also co-wrote 1917. But I want to get back.
1917 was outstanding.
I haven't seen it yet.
Really good. It's shot like one take.
Yeah. No, I need to watch it. Okay, but I want to get back to what you're talking about. So yeah, she almost puts the scissors in one of her fellow students, and that student does presumably call security. I mean, she cries out for security to come. But then yeah, it just kind of goes on. So I'm curious. I hear what you're saying. I didn't have the same thoughts while it was happening. I think because I was just very invested in the moment.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking outside of it. But I'm curious. We both do some writing, some screenwriting, some story writing. So I'm curious if you have thought about like maybe how you would have liked it to have gone. Because I have a hard time, because I understand what, how they're following kind of plot beats, I guess, or how it followed, so how would it have gone?
I think that's a whole other podcast, rewriting films that we wish ended differently. I don't know. I guess I would have wanted to see, like, if it's a true tragedy and not just
So is it?
I feel like there should have been some tragedy to it, but she ended up getting to win in the end. Like everything was just okay, and I didn't like that. And that there was this type of film that was done in the 70s, and I recently heard Chuck Palahniuk explain it well on a podcast a couple days ago. I want to say it's like existential fatalism. I might be saying this title wrong, but it's like the movie Alien, the original.
I still haven't watched it.
Okay. There were just films where people's lives were like everything went to shit, and it was understood that that's okay because most people's lives go to shit, and and it was a sign of the times that everything was going to kind of just fall apart. But we still watched those movies and like appreciated them. I think that like so much tragedy and so many terrible things happened to her, like her new boyfriend getting stabbed in the guts and then the building burning down around her. But then, it's fine. It's fine. No problem. Nobody would come back from that. They'd be traumatized for years.
Well, that's a different movie.
That is a different movie. How does she How does she win throughout all this so easily?
But how many movies do that?
Too many. Too many have a fairy tale ending.
Uh, a lot do. Yes. I wouldn't call this fairy tale ending.
So the first Terminator film, well, second Terminator film opens up with Sarah Connor in the psych ward.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way that society was going to be able to accept this person in the state that they were. Of course, it ends with her just driving away and, off to Mexico. That's like, geez, I could ramble on that for a long time. I just don't feel like this person would have been able to bounce back so quickly, so successfully, so joyfully. How this new boyfriend of hers was able to be like, oh, everything's okay. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big knife in his guts. That's a traumatic wound.
So you wanted to see the effects of that trauma.
I think so.
More than
just shook it off.
I see. Interesting. Yeah, I can see that for sure. I didn't think I'd agree with you at all.
That's fine.
But no, I'm saying that I do
Why
a little
we're here.
bit. I'm saying that I do a little bit, even though it doesn't really change how I viewed the film.
Yeah.
I am trying to envision it. What it had been like if they had explored that trauma. And it's really hard to do that while we're talking, but
right. And I think you would need a much longer film to do that.
Well, it's either, I mean, fuck, I just watched a movie called Don't Breathe.
Which is on my list.
Which it's a great movie. I don't know if it's a great movie, but it's a damn good one.
Okay.
And to be honest, they kind of do the same thing with the ending. And yeah, they do the exact same fucking thing. But
where everybody wins and it's all fine.
Well, yes, but there's a little twinge of it not being actually fine, which I feel like they do with the ending of Last Night in Soho as well, when she looks in the mirror and it's not only her mother, but now it's also Sandy.
We need to address this moment.
But so there's this idea that life is fine and good, but then underneath it, still no, it isn't, because this girl is, she can act as if, but now she has another ghost who doesn't seem like a threatening presence.
Is Sandy free now at this point? Do you think she's free of her burden?
Well, she's dead, so yeah. I suppose that's what she wanted. She would have rather have died than to go to an actual prison, because she said she was in prison all her life. And so that's why she slit her throat. See, I guess for me, before we get to what would you call it, the afterword, or the denouement, whatever, the after the part that's after the climax, the whole scene in the house with the fire, for me, that was
fire well in house scenes.
Okay, but yeah, okay, but that's
that's on the technical side.
You and guns and fire, let's not even go there. All right, you're a gunman, you're a firefighter. You know, it's not even fair. But that for me was like the close of the story. And then you have what happened after, and then that little wink in the mirror. But
maybe this is how I would have liked to see that last scene go. She's in a hospital. Her grandma's there. Everything's going to be okay, Eloise. Everything's going to be okay. And that guy, you know, he's recovering, but he's still kind of fucked up.
And they're holding hands across the beds.
Maybe they're holding hands across the beds. I don't know how the British health system does this. You know, do they put traumatic injuries in with psych patients? I'm not sure. Maybe something like that, or he's got the IV. You know, everything's going to be okay. But then she looked, you know, maybe then she sees a mirror. And Sandy's still there.
Well, look at it this way. We don't know how much time has elapsed. So for all, huh?
It was 3 months. They said it 3 months later.
Where did they say that?
There was like a little thing at the bottom.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Really? There was a title card?
I believe there was a little title card at the bottom. It said 3 months later.
We need a fact checker. Can
Yeah.
we get on that? Fact check that. Because I don't remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember that at all. That's interesting. Okay, well that actually, I mean, my point was enough time could have elapsed.
Okay.
Where she spent time in recovery and in the hospital and even in therapy for that matter.
Let's hope.
I mean, I'm glad they didn't do a montage of it, if anything.
Oh, that would have been the worst. Just popping pills and being evaluated by psychiatrists. Like exercising like Rocky or something.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't recall that time card at all, or that title card. Huh.
We'll have to double check. It'll be in the comments section. I'm sure somebody will call us on it. If I'm wrong.
No, if I'm wrong.
We could both be wrong.
It might have been 6 months.
It might have been 6. I think it was a time certain.
I mean,
which doesn't matter.
I think that's the point. Time did elapse.
Yeah. But she was able to get her designs together, and
well, she was going in that direction. I mean, that didn't come from nothing.
Right. But you know, like her first day in class, she came up with the best design she had.
From a vision she had.
From the vision. That's right. There was something I wanted to talk about on the filmmaking side of it. There are a lot of interesting special effects, and I think several of them were practical effects.
There's a lot of practical effects in this movie.
And I was really tempted to watch a how it's made kind of thing, or behind the scenes. And then I realized that I don't necessarily deserve to know how that was made.
Interesting.
A magician doesn't have to tell me how he got the rabbit in the hat. You know, but I kind of expect it from filmmakers. I want to know how Spielberg made the dinosaurs, or how, you know, Edgar Wright got Eloise in the mirror shots, which a lot of that can be angling and whatnot, or, you know, split screening and editing.
I felt I deserved to know. I looked into it a bit.
Okay.
Not that I deserve to know, but I was just really curious. I actually haven't yet found a good behind the scenes. There's a behind the scenes video on YouTube, but it's not a good one. Yeah, no, that's some you can find that out. It's very interesting, and a lot of it, like the dance sequences, is all practical effects.
Hmm.
Maybe not all, but most of it.
I don't want to say it's easier to do that because I have no idea. It's probably much harder.
It's a lot of
But
coordination.
yeah, but if you can pull it off as well as he did, big
The
ups
other
for that.
the other thing I like about him, so I think it's the first time that she goes to bed in that room, and she
Hmm.
turns on the music and the lights are flashing.
Yeah, the three lights.
He coordinated the lights flashing with the music.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's so cool.
Well, it would have been nauseating if it wasn't. Oh,
Well, yeah,
could you imagine seeing that? And it's like,
you almost, yeah, you almost have to. But when he talked about it, he said it was such a headache because there were other flight lights flashing from from a flag marquee or whatever,
mm.
as well as with like the red lights.
The music, we talk about that for a second. Great soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hip, very um, you can play that at a party, themed party, or just stuff to groove to. I thought it was outstanding.
Oh yeah.
Um, another shout out, Anya Taylor-Joy's version of Downtown.
Yeah, the acapella version.
Yeah, did you watch the YouTube video?
I did. I did. Yeah, there are other versions of it,
There's
but in the
other versions,
movie,
but in the movie, killed it. That's why
mm-hmm,
she's the goat.
that's why she's the goat.
Why
Hashtag the
she's the
goat.
goat. I had written down here. I don't know if you have other notes. I want to talk about some of the secondary and tertiary characters in the
Okay,
film.
yeah, go for it.
Um, I'm going to talk about two guys in particular.
Okay.
Um, first, her the love interest of Eloise.
Mm-hmm.
This young man who's also in um the art school with her. He's got this real like never give up attitude, and apparently he thinks she's the greatest thing in the world, even though she's absolutely crazy and has proven it a few times, but he still sticks by her.
I want to circle back, if we can, to her being crazy after you get done with this.
Okay. Um, and then there was the gentleman who keeps saying, or he keeps like showing up to the bar where she's working.
The older gentleman.
The older man. Yeah. Um,
There's so many references in this movie, by the way.
yeah, I didn't realize until
Okay.
after I had seen it and I was reading a review that he was not the killer or the pimp. He was the cop.
Yeah, no, I got that while watching it.
Yeah, I had to like, I don't know why. No, I got that while watching it at the end. But
So
there was
what do you
this
mean?
point where he said, they're all dead now. And he knew her mother. I didn't realize her mother was also a prostitute.
He did seem to know her mother,
Mm-hmm.
and her mother did go to London.
And died in the streets
Okay,
because she
interesting.
was, yeah, that was like a revelation to me when I read that. I went, oh man. So she was following her mother's path, and her grandmother warned her not to get like, caught up in that world.
I love it more now. I didn't realize that, because
Okay.
that's I guess that is really tucked in the script, but they don't really explicitly tell you that
Oh
about
yeah,
her mother.
it's tucked in tight like sheets at a hotel.
I hate that, but I like what they did. Okay, interesting. Okay, go on.
This might be a movie I have to watch again.
I think so.
I can give it another chance for some of the Easter eggs. I still have a problem with the overall arc.
Listen,
That being said,
I didn't like The Hateful Eight the first time I saw it. I hated that
good movie.
I watched it again years later. But anyway.
Okay. And then there were a couple female characters that were secondary, tertiary. Obviously, Mrs. Collins, who we find out later is Sandy. That was kind of a duh moment, kind of figured that out. And
was it
towards the end, right at that third act?
I think that's when you're supposed to figure it out, if at all.
Yeah, which obviously. But then there was the roommate character who was just a total asshat.
Total B.
Was that what her name was?
I'm saying she's a bitch.
Oh, okay. I guess those are words that are.
She was completely self-serving, and she wanted all the attention, and she had her little girl posse.
And she always had to one up the story. Exactly. If Eloise had said, "Wow, I found $20 on the way to school today," she'd be like, "Oh man, there was this one time when I was in Prague and I looked down and there were, 2 million yen or something, and it was happened to be the one day where the exchange rate was really high and it was $21."
It's probably a different currency, but okay.
Well, that's why the exchange rate from yen to whatever they use in Prague.
Yen. Isn't
that somebody dropped 2 million yen in Prague?
Isn't that Japanese?
I think so.
Okay, so
I know what I'm doing here.
So a Japanese tourist, no, it's very
a Japanese tourist lost the money, and then she found the money, and the exchange rate made it so that it was $21, and that's so it's.
I don't think
just a little bit better than Eloise's story.
I see.
I didn't like her. You're not supposed to like her.
No,
I kind of wish Eloise would have stabbed her.
Well, she almost did.
Yeah. And the moment where she didn't stab her is where the film fell apart. No, those are just some of my takes. There's things I really liked about the movie. There's things I really didn't like about the movie.
So to me, okay, I feel like I'm going into final thoughts. So maybe we should just,
which is fine,
do our thumbing. But I wanted to. So I really liked. To me, it's been so long since I've seen a film like this, a psychological thriller with an unreliable narrator, and that's like Memento. Memento is a modern classic of that genre,
which you can't watch on Netflix.
You cannot watch it on Netflix. You have to work just a little bit harder.
Yeah. Go buy a DVD of it at any Goodwill. There's usually 3 or 4 copies.
I've never seen that at a Goodwill. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's where I picked it up.
But it's not like, no, she's an unreliable narrator. So you can't really trust her 100%. Yeah. We're seeing the events from her perspective, Eloise's perspective, but we know that there's a history of mental instability. Her mother committed suicide. She has these visions. She sees her mother. It seems that it was a bigger problem for her in the past. She gets overwhelmed, anxiety. So I like that we're in her shoes. We're seeing it through her eyes. You didn't mention one of the other twists where she sees Sandy getting murdered, but But for me, that still worked. I think some people that probably didn't work for them, but for me, it still worked because, well, her visions are mixed with her narrative, and and she doesn't have all the facts, even though she believes that she does. And I think that's a very interesting uh, thing to play with,
Yeah.
rather than just your straight up, horror slasher suspense. The external suspense. I like that there's this internal conflict going on.
And I just thought of this. I think that Eloise, being the child of a prostitute, is the result of prostitution. And so she's almost from the womb, she is
Because she didn't know.
intertwined, right? She doesn't know who her father is.
Yeah.
Her mother probably got pregnant while going to the school, and
Wow.
maybe
You
left
just
school
gave
because
me
she was pregnant.
you just gave me a whole other layer that I never had thought about.
I think there's some meta stuff going on in this movie where
Damn.
they only touch on it,
But it's there.
but it's there. It's all there. It's all laid out. You just have to, you got to sift through it a little bit.
Wow.
And I think Sandy's death is she's dying to herself. She's not dying physically. She was dying like the girl that went to London with the big hopes and dreams is dead.
Right.
Now she's this shell
Right.
person.
Yeah. Whew.
Things to think about. Get
I
your
really
thumbs
hope-
ready.
Oh, my thumb's been ready.
All right.
Are you going to count us down?
You know what? I'm gonna do it in the style of like a 60s band.
I wish you had some music queued up for it.
Yeah, but it would probably be, we'd have to pay royalties.
I could probably get away with it.
Here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
Oh,
Saw this one coming a mile away.
But that's okay. I thought you were going to give it 2 thumbs down, to be honest.
No, there were things that I liked. 50-50.
Well, we did not touch upon favorite scenes, but that's okay. Do you have any final thoughts or favorite scenes?
I think some of my favorite scenes were the ones that kind of got you amped up a little bit. The dancing, the mirrors, the that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. It's a visually stunning film. If you can see it in theater, go see it in the theater. If you gotta wait till you're watching it at home, don't watch it on your device. Watch it on a big TV with the stereo going. It's good. You need to feel this movie.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make the list of greatest films ever made. But It's good. It's good. It's a movie.
I feel like that's a slight, but okay.
It doesn't stand up like that. It doesn't have the staying power. Another film came out last year, Cruella, with Emma Stone playing Cruella de Vil, going to 60s London, fashion design, whatever. I thought that was better.
I haven't seen Cruella.
Oh, Emma Stone did a great job.
No,
Great.
I wanted to see it. I like her a lot. Um, yeah, for me, like you said, the dance sequences, especially the where she first enters that world, and Sandy meets Jack, and they're
Yeah.
dancing. They're dancing to "Land of a Thousand Dances."
Mhm.
That's very cool. That's a very cool scene. For me, I think this will stand up. I think it will hold up against multiple viewings. Um, it's kind of like Baby Driver. Like when I first saw Baby Driver, like I really liked it, but I didn't know if it was going to hold up. And then for me,
Still
it
haven't
did.
seen it.
I I'd be very interested to know to hear what you think about that.
Okay.
But
What are we
yeah,
watching next?
oh man,
Do we need to
I
go to something just ridiculous, like a palate cleanser? I mean,
I
we're
still
watching
want
a
to
lot of movies lately.
do Raw.
Raw.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a French horror movie.
Yeah. Do you want to do Raw and Tatane as one pod?
How are you going to watch it though?
I don't know how I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get a Russian bootleg or something.
We should definitely do Titan when it's available on streaming or whatever.
Which doesn't take any time whatsoever. I bet you could get Last Night in Soho streaming somewhere right now.
It's on streaming like in 8 days or something.
That's ridiculous. I remember waiting so much longer when I was a kid after a movie came out.
Right?
Like
You have to wait.
months.
Yeah, you have to wait what, 3 to 6 months?
Right. That's if they didn't decide to re-release it in the theater. Like Jurassic Park was in the theater forever.
Yeah, and then some of them went to the dollar theater,
Oh, the dollar theater. I
which is
think
where I
we
saw.
alternate the pod for a one episode and we just talk about dollar and discount theaters.
We can try it. Yeah, why not? But that's where I saw Mulholland Drive in the dollar theater.
Oh wow.
I saw it twice in the same weekend for $1.
I saw Titanic in the dollar theater.
Whew.
Buddy of mine
Oh.
went 6 times. As he took different girls on dates there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, my pick for the next pod movie would be Raw,
Okay.
which is a French horror movie about a woman who um she's a vegetarian, but she discovers that she really likes meat. Life changing.
Wonder what kind of meat she's eating.
I wonder.
I wonder. Okay. Well, guys,
That's my
thanks for
pick.
sticking around. This was a long pod today. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think it was a good one.
Oh, I think it was. There were things I learned, things you learned. We all learned together, and that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty. That's what we're here for.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe.
Well, until next time.
All right, raise your glass.
I gotta pour something in it.
Oh.
Now you're drinking hot water now.
Well, it's warm now, but yeah, I was drinking hot water.
You're on hot water, I'm on cold water.
I don't know how you do it.
With my mouth.
Till next time.
Till next time.